Why are toilet papers even going to ask for sponsorship or do advertising? Who's not going to use toilet paper? All right. Now that we've got the comedy bit out of the way. Oh, looks like we lost a bit on the live stream. Okay. Let's see if we can keep this going. Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dreamers of all ages, today is Wednesday, October 4th, 2017, so let's get this party started. Welcome to the Philippines bi-monthly This Week in the Philippines livecast, where I regularly attempt being the key word, to address issues that could affect foreigners living, studying, working, retiring, or doing basically anything in the Philippines. I'll talk about the good, the bad, and the occasional downright ugly of day-to-day life in our humble little island archipelago. Remember that the information presented in this live stream is just that, information. It's been called from a bunch of primary sources, and I'm not giving my opinion on anything. I'm just presenting the information as it was presented to me. I will be alternating this week in the Philippines with the viewer comment and question live cast every other week. So one week I'll be doing the viewer comments and questions, and the next week I'll be doing the news-ish This Week in the Philippines live cast. I know live casts aren't everyone's cup of tea. Not everybody likes them. But for me, they're a quick and easy way to connect with viewers during the stream. The live stream's comments section is open. As always, feel free to ask questions and goof around, but just try to keep it respectful and moderately civil. If you're going to troll the live chat, you're most likely going to be banned, which means you're going to have to make another anonymous user account and come back on the next live cast. This week we'll be updating the Balik Bayan box shipping issues. We'll be talking PhilHealth a little bit and talking a bit about how life in the Philippines has gotten worse and gotten better for foreigners that are living, studying, working, doing anything in the Philippines. But first, the Las Vegas shooting, we got to acknowledge that. As an American, I have to acknowledge that. Horrible act, 59 people killed, hundreds wounded, thousands affected. Las Vegas also has a huge Filipino population. It's one of the highest, densest areas of Filipinos in the United States, I believe, after Las Vegas. Los Angeles, I'm not sure. It's a horrible act. I don't know if anything's going to be done. But the worst thing about it, the loss of life and all the thousands and thousands and thousands of people, family members, brothers, sisters, fathers, sons, that are being affected on this, is when you look at the comment section on news outlets, whether it be Breitbart, whether it be CNN, doesn't matter. Everyone's hoping that it's the other side that's going to be responsible for this. You got the conservatives and the liberals, you got the two teams over there, you got the culture war going on. And it's just a shame that that's actually what people are focusing on instead of trying to look for solutions. I also assume, and I haven't done the research, I have no primary sources to quote on this, but I'm sure once again gun sales have gone up, and probably the sales of these bump stocks that were used to increase the rate of fire. Again, thoughts, prayers for all the people affected by this. And this is literally tens of thousands of people because you figure all the family members, extended family, all that stuff. And also the effect that this has on the collective unconscious in the United States. It started with Columbine, and it just keeps going and going and going. Enough on that. YouTube hates my live cast. They haven't monetized one. So this is a freebie. So if you found what I'm doing to be of some value, consider supporting the ongoing efforts over on my Patreon site, www.patreon.com/Philippine Dreams. The link is down in the video description box. Thanks to all patrons, past and present, including Rico, Dan, Tom, 1DIR, Casey, Dale, Dave, and my latest patron, Kevin. Thank you very much. Also thanks to Kurt, a gentleman named Kurt, who made a sizable donation via my PayPal donation button over on the website. Just keep in mind that if you're going to donate money through the donation, the donation button over on the website, try to leave a message saying whether you want it to go towards operating costs. That's my hosting, that's my WordPress templates, that's the new $1,300 drone I just bought, stuff like that. Or if you want to have it go towards charitable projects. Speaking of charitable projects, you might have noticed that I haven't done anything for a while. Usually we do the Spaghetti Fest, we rope in Bud Brown, we go around, we do a massive feeding, giving out like 100 meals throughout the city. I still have $498 in the donation kitty, and you can see the money that's been going in and the money that's been going out. There's a link to it down in the video description box. But I'm thinking about changing that up. Instead of doing Spaghetti Fest and doing feedings like that, I'm thinking about trying to help people out with college tuition. I actually know a buddy of mine who has a friend, a neighbor. They don't have, they live in a nipa hut. They got no power or anything like that. This person was enrolled at NORSU, one of the local universities here, in the criminology program, and they had to drop out basically just because they couldn't afford it. So what I'm thinking about doing, and I don't know how I'm going to do the logistics on this, moving that to helping people, truly needy people out with college tuition, because again, you give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. And speaking of food, I'm down on the boulevard usually 2 nights a week, hanging out with the boys, and I do like mini feedings down there, giving out, money for ice cream and luau and stuff, but I don't deduct that from the kitty, the donation kitty. Like most foreigners and Filipinos that give money to the, the street kids and stuff to buy food, just comes out of my pocket. So again, continued thanks to everybody who has supported the site. It is sincerely appreciated. Okay, looks like we're still live. This is an open channel and website. If you want to promote your own smaller channel, feel free to send me a message over at myphilippinedreams@gmail.com, and I will promote your channel. Same thing goes for guest posting. If you want to do a guest post on my site, I'll give you backlinks and all that stuff. I'm looking for people's experiences, unique experiences in the Philippines, living here, working here, studying here, doing whatever they are doing. And again, in short, it's not longer my channel, it's our channel. Last week's trivia question. All right, nobody got this one. Filipinos, like people of all nations around the world, are at times guilty of some decidedly odd behaviors. Last week's trivia question was, what is the first thing a good number of Filipinos do after stepping off an escalator or an elevator? There was actually 2 possible answers to that question. A number of people responded. One of them responded with the answer that they take their shoes off. And I don't know where that one came from. The answer that I was looking for was to either stop at the bottom of the escalator when they step off the elevator and or check their phone. For some reason, a lot of people here just seem to like stop, in aisles or the escalators, elevators, things like that. So nobody won last week. So here we go with this week's trivia question. From having the world's largest python, and I think it's up in Palawan, and saltwater crocodiles, again up in Palawan, the Philippines has captured the largest snakes, I think it's some type of python, and the largest saltwater crocodile in the world. The Philippines also has these giant mutant hornets. I don't know if you guys have seen these. And the biggest fish in the 7 seas, the whale sharks. The Philippines is home to a bunch of bigly beasts. See how I put bigly in there? Yeah. It's an American thing. This particular animal is the largest that lives in the Philippines and can only be found on the island of Mindoro. So again, we're looking for the largest animal in the Philippines. This is a mammal, and it primarily lives, or I think it only lives, on the island of Mindoro. The first 2 people to email the name of this particular monstrous beast to myphilippinedreams@gmail.com get a free copy of my book, a $10.95 value at any of your local book retailers. And if you want to help support the operations here, you can see the link to the book down in the video description box. Let's get into it. Balik Bayan box update. I've gotten reports, and I know a number of people that have received Balik Bayan boxes since the new regulations went into effect on August 1st, and no one has yet been charged the tariff, fees, and taxes. What I'm waiting to see is waiting for somebody to receive a box that they sent after August 1st to see if they'll try to do it that way. That doesn't mean that if you're sending boxes or whatever, you're not going to get charged if it's over 10,000 pesos worth of objects in the Balik Bayan box. But as of yet, I haven't seen anybody get hit with the taxes and tariffs. And again, those can be pretty nasty. Also, if you're buying something, it used to be if you purchase something from eBay in Hong Kong and China, and when I refer to buying stuff from eBay China, that's what I'm talking about. If you purchase stuff, you can get stuff from eBay that's in China and Hong Kong all day long, and they'll charge you like 130 peso customs inspection fee. So that's fairly reasonable. And you can have things shipped in up to a worth of 10,000 pesos before they start slamming you with the tariffs and the taxes. Before, if somebody got like $100, something that was worth $100, about 5,000 pesos, they'd be charged like 3,000, 4,000 pesos on top of that, depending on what they estimated the worth of the item was. So Balik Bayan box, so far so good. We'll see what happens. You never know what's going to happen here in the Philippines. Let's go to the... Hey, Rona's here. Hey, Kwentong. I mispronounced Baliu. I thought it was Kwentong Balu, but I guess it's Kwentong Baliu. Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's get this done. PhilHealth update. Nobody has reported yet being asked for additional monies if they get hospitalized and they get PhilHealth. What happened, I think this was this past June, PhilHealth gave people that already had PhilHealth the opportunity to extend for a couple years at the same rate, the $50 a year, before the new rate kicked in on July 1st, which is $340 a year. So of course I, like a number of other people, went down and paid up for another 2 years at the old rate, which is only $100. And I've had no reports of anybody being hit up for any money as of yet. I think it's still going to be a while till we see that, because again, the people that already had PhilHealth, they had it, so we won't know for a little while. The Z-Pack stuff, you're still not covered. They took that coverage away, so if you get a severe illness, cancer, or anything like that, it's not going to be covered. I'd rather go back to the U.S. and get treatment for cancer if something like that happened to me. Just saying. So there's no news on that yet. Drone purchase. Today, actually right about now, I am purchasing a Mavic Pro Fly More package from Macy's Camera in Cebu. There was only two ways to get this. I could actually physically go over to Cebu, which I really didn't want to do, go to the camera shop and buy this thing, or I could do a money transfer online, which actually is done quite a bit here. Macy's Camera Shop over in Cebu is actually quite reputable. It's got 130,000 likes on Facebook. Everything's sold on Facebook here. They have a website, but everybody's on the Facebook. And I wasn't really comfortable doing that because I don't want to be blindly sending $1,300 US and hope that I get my drone sent to me via LBC. So one of my subscribers, one of my viewers, Kelly Bell, who lives here in Dumaguete, he was going to Cebu. They went on Tuesday, so I gave him the money. I think it was like 66,000 pesos, and he should be purchasing it right about now. He said it was going to be over there between 10 and 12. So I should have the drone in hand tomorrow afternoon, and Friday should be the debut video of the drone probably plunging into the ocean. I'm also getting the $100 Care Plus thing, so if you do crash it, as long as you can return it to them, they'll fix it and return it. But I'll have to send it to the United States to do that, then have it sent back here. But it's all good. Rona. Big Kev No Bull is here. Hi, y'all. What's happening? I did a lot of research on what kind of drone I was going to get, and I get so indecisive. One of my favorite sayings is, I used to be indecisive, now I'm not so sure. So finally I'm just like, why not? It's something I'm really interested in. When you see other people's drone footage, it's just amazing. And I'm the type of person who gets up early to go out and take photographs and stuff with a beautiful light, the golden hour, early in the morning or late in the afternoon. So hopefully something good will come out of that. Plus, it's something to do, traveling around, take additional drone footage. So it's Wes. That's a great idea. Wes recommends put your cell phone number on the drone with a reward for recovery. That is an excellent, excellent idea. Doc Welby asks, states, too bad about the Patriots last weekend. I don't watch sports, man. Come on. That's not my thing. All right, here's another example of don't do what I do or do what I say. Uh, you guys know that I purchased a Nikon D5100 with a beautiful Tamron 18200 lens when I was back in the United States this past May. And one thing I didn't do is I didn't know about humidity and lens fungus. So about 2 weeks ago, I was looking in my lens, I was cleaning off the lens, and I noticed there was this like hairy white fibrous thing like right beneath the surface of the lens. And of course I went to Google, did a Google search, come to find out it's fungus. The humidity in the Philippines is generally around 80, 85, 90%. And these little DSLR lenses, they just can't handle that. So this white fungus grows inside the lenses. To get it cleaned, luckily in the Philippines it's only about 50 bucks. If I went over to Macy's, over at the camera shop over in Cebu, it'd be about 50 bucks for them to dismantle this very complicated lens and clean out the fungus. But even when you clean it out, it's still going to leave, because I guess it etches into the coating or something on the inside. So what I've done now is I'm putting the camera outside, well not the camera, just the lens. The lens alone I put out in the sunlight for about a half an hour every morning, trying to kill the fungus. And I also bought some of these silica gel packs, and I got, of course, my big Ziploc bag. I put the silica gel beads, because of these little beads, in this sock right here. I got a humidity meter. I think it's called a hydrogener or something, hydrogometer, I don't know. And and I'm storing the camera in here. Now, the relative humidity right now in the room is 85%. Inside the camera bag with the silica gel, it's 50%, which is a lot better. So hopefully the lens won't get any worse. Again, and if you're coming here with this is a cheap lens. These go for like 80 to 100 bucks on eBay. So this is a very inexpensive lens. But if you're coming here with an expensive lens, you better have some way to make sure that you keep that moisture and that humidity away from the lens. It's very easy. What I'm going to do is actually go down, get like a Tupperware box and get some calcium carbonate and stuff and use that as the drying mechanism and keep it inside this weatherproof Tupperware thing so that the humidity stays low. Don't do what I do. Back to the comments real quick. Does aircon keep the humidity down? Yes, but here's if you're a photographer, again, this is the problem with air conditioning, especially when you're traveling. You're in a nice air-conditioned hotel room somewhere, and you step outside with your camera, so you're bringing your camera into the hot, humid environment, you're immediately going to get condensation all over the lens. And that can actually increase the moisture to a critical point where you're getting moisture right inside the lens, and the fungus is going to have a fungus party. So what I do when I'm traveling, what I'm going to do from now on when I'm traveling, is actually keep it in the bathroom of the hotel, because the bathroom's not usually air conditioned, and I'll keep it in the silica gel bag to try to keep the humidity down so the camera doesn't experience those extreme changes in temperature and humidity. Bobby K and Big Kev are fighting. Okay, try to keep it civil, guys. All right. Yesterday, I got a text from a buddy of mine, this guy I've known for a while, and he says, Ned, I got to meet up with you today. I have to talk to you about something important. Now, Tuesdays for me are the busiest day of the week. I'm always running around. I'm cooking. I got all kinds of things I have to do on Tuesday. So I said, hey, why don't we Skype? So we Skyped, and he said he couldn't do it over text. He couldn't ask me over text because it was too complicated. So we ended up Skyping yesterday morning, and basically he was asking for money. He was asking me to help out with money, but it's weird. Okay, so his son, who's American, he's got an American son. He's about, I don't know, 8 years old, and correct me if I'm wrong. And don't say your name. Don't associate yourself with this if you're watching this right now. I don't want any names associated with this stuff because people on the internet are crazy. And so there's like this type of pageant contest going on at the school that his son is attending. There's going to be a male and female student that are awarded Mr. and Mrs. We'll call it Dumaguete. And 30% of the score to achieve this ranking is the costume that they have. And the costume that they've done is actually pretty fantastic. 30% is performance. I guess it's the talent portion of it. And 30% of it, and 10% is production. And 30% of it is how much money they can bring to the school on a certain day. And the school's not going to keep this money. All they're doing is they're taking this money, they're counting it, and they're giving it right back to the people. And this sounds really bizarre. This is. I mean, when I talk about the Philippines, things are different here. This is a perfect example of it. I guess he's raised. People have pledged about 150,000 pesos. I'm probably going to kick in 25,000 pesos myself. I'll go down there to the school. You give the money to them, they count it up, and they give the money right back. And whatever kid brings in the most money, whether it be a male or a female student, they get that 30%. So, and I think this is a carryover. There's a lot of classism in the Philippines. The people with money, the people with power, it seems like this is something that, they wanted their kids to win, so that they integrated these requirements and these contests. Because this isn't the first time I've heard about it, but this is the first time I've extensively heard about it and seen it actually applied to somebody. So hopefully, and this is like a great opportunity for a robbery. You got all these people bringing in all this money to this school, and that's the first thing I asked. I said, okay, I'm gonna bring my gun, and I won't have to work for the next 10 years. So that is an interesting anecdote of life in the Philippines. The schools, I hear a lot of foreigners complaining about the schools concentrating on like dancing and singing and all that stuff. And a lot of times when you're going by the school, you'll actually see the kids outside dancing and singing and doing all that stuff. So it's different here. It's been a slow video week. They do that in the States too, Roger Davis says. So recycle a 25K you playing with some friends to make sure the kid wins. Isn't it crazy though? Money talks. So it's leverage towards the person with the most money, whether it be a rich Filipino or a foreigner, winning this. Oof. I don't know. I ain't gonna pass judgment. It's been a slow video week. Actually, I haven't done any videos this past week. I got a whole bunch of vignette videos still in the can that I got to put up. I've just been preoccupied with other projects that have been going on. So that's that. Brownout. Again, this is a case of don't do what I do. Usually on Thursdays or Fridays, and on Negros, usually once a month, they'll have an all-day brownout. And it's always on a Sunday, and it's usually from 8 a.m. in the morning till about 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And what they do is they go around with their trucks and their bamboo ladders and stuff, and they chop back the jungle from all the lines. They also replace transmission poles and do all kinds of other maintenance. Now, Negros Noreco, which is the local power company here on Negros, who I love. I mean, we had a major problem one time. Lightning hit our transformer, blew out our meter and all that stuff. They were there about 6 hours later and replaced everything. So I actually love Noreco. And they're great about announcing these brownouts like a week to at least three days ahead of time, so you can make plans. Usually I'll get up early. Well, not I always get up early, but I'll make sure I got my shower taken, the tablets charged, laptops charged, my phone's charged. I've made plans on what I'm going to do that day. But this past week I didn't check. Thursday, Friday, I just totally spaced it. Sunday morning around 8 o'clock, I'm doing work on the computer. I was doing a video for somebody else, and the power goes out. And at first I didn't think anything about it. Then I realized it was Sunday. So I'm like, shit. So I got my dad on my phone, which was at 20%. My charge was at 20%. Went outside because I don't get, good reception in the house, and found out that it was brownout. So that kind of sucked. So one of the first things you want to do, or if you live here now, make sure you like their pages so you get the notifications and everything, and actually check the notifications. Because there's nothing worse than a brownout on a hot day. I mean, I made the most of it. I went out and did some stuff, but still, I hate getting caught in brownouts. And even when you know about them, there's something psychological about them. It's going to be like, oh my God, all day tomorrow there's going to be no power. And I start freaking out. And I can't imagine how these people, like down in Puerto Rico right now, I guess they're not going to have power for like 4 to 6 months in some areas, And whenever these massive storms come through, like Tacloban, when they got hit up in Leyte, the power was out for like 6 months. It just destroys everything. I couldn't live like that, man. I even know, all right, and I'm a pussy. I'll admit it. I'm a pussy. I'm a wimp, and I haven't adjusted to everything in the Philippines. But I know some guys that actually go to hotels. They'll check into a hotel for the day here in Dumaguete because they don't want to sit around the house with no power. All right, next up, we're going to be talking about how things have gotten better or worse for foreigners living in the Philippines. Going to check the comments real. How's the expat community in Dumaguete? It's good, man. Hawkeye asks, how's the expat community in Dumaguete? It's good. We got you got your little cliques and everything, your little crews that hang out. I got my little crew that I hang out with. People are usually very accommodating and welcoming to people that are here, especially newcomers. Like a lot of times what guys will do, what I tell guys when they're first coming here, I'm like, go down to McDonald's and there'll be a bunch of expats there starting about 5 o'clock in the morning. And if you need any advice or anything, just start talking to them. Jedman, so the expat community is good. Despite what you hear on some YouTube channels, not going to say any name, although it's good. Jedman says, Ned, I won the book a while back. I like it. Good work. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mike Johnson. Every time I see that name. Do they have generators in the Philippines? Yeah, a lot of people have generators. But it's to the point in Negros at least, because we got the thermal power plant. So our power is freaking off the chains. It's solid. So I've never seen the need of getting a generator. And yes, some people have the solar panels with the little battery packs and stuff, and those are good too. That would be good to have here, something like that. Zex says, hey buddy, greetings from South Florida. What's happening? Casino 2004. Hey Ned, have you ever been threatened? No, I have never been threatening. The biggest enemy that I have in the Philippines is myself. Just a continuation of bad decisions that are ultimately self-defeating. Yeah, I've never had a problem with anybody coming up to me, anybody giving me issues, Filipinos, foreigners, anything like that. Walter Brown. All right, let's get into, and I'd like for you guys to add in the discussion or later on when this goes up, or just message me, Facebook, whatever, your opinions on this. So we're looking at, have things gotten better or worse for foreigners in the Philippines? They have gotten better in some ways, in my humble opinion, and worse in a number of ways, in my humble opinion. Let's get into it. First up, they are going after this corruption thing a bit. The example that affects foreigners, I think, is they finally got rid of the Bureau of Immigration fast lane hustle. Those of you who aren't familiar with that, maybe you're here on spousal visas or belly beyond privilege visas. That's where they charge you extra money every time you renew to expedite the process of getting your passport processed. I think it was like 500 to 1,000 pesos, depending on how many days, how many months you were extending for. I'm not sure. I can't remember, and I can't be bothered to look it up. But they finally got rid of that. And I think that came down from one of the higher offices. Now, what's happened with the immigration offices since they got rid of Fastlane, which is CLA, they're now saying, okay, sir, you have to come back in 4 or 5 business days to get your visa, to get your passport back. And I guess that's their way of pushing back against the system because they're not getting that extra money. Now, I don't think individual BI guys were getting kickbacks from this. I think it was at the higher level, so they finally got rid of that. So that's cool. Infrastructure improvements, at least locally, and from what I've seen in my limited travels around the Philippines, the roads seem to be getting better, especially on Negros. There used to be a joke when I first got here 4 years ago. They'd say, okay, because there's 2 parts to this island. There's Negros Oriental and there's Negros Occidental up top. And people used to joke and say, hey, you'll know when you reach Negros Occidental because the road ends. It basically goes from concrete to just a dirt road. And when I first got here, it was like that. It has since much improved. The internet is also getting better. Fiber is slowly coming down my road. I see the fiber guys that are installing the PLDT fiber every day. They just hooked around the corner and they're starting to head down my road. So hopefully I'll have fiber internet pretty soon. And most importantly, and this is the one that affects us as foreigners living here the most, the exchange rate, at least for Americans, and I think for a number of other countries, has increased substantially. When I first got here, it was about 44 pesos to a dollar. Now it's hovering around 51, 50 and a half, 51 pesos. So that's a substantial increase. So you're getting a lot more for your dollar. When I first moved into this house, it cost $239 a month. Since the peso has dropped and the dollar's gotten a little stronger, it's now $200 a month. So that's 40 bucks a month that you're saving, and that's pretty substantial. Now, unfortunately, the reason that it keeps increasing is because the peso keeps going down. And I think there's a lot going on in the country between the insurgencies, the uncertainty, the drug war, a lot of Korean businesses pulling out. That's affecting the economy. And with that happening, there might be inflation coming in. I'm not sure. All right, so those are three ways that things have improved for foreigners in the Philippines. Now let's get into how things have gotten worse. All right, I'm getting continued reports on some LTO offices not giving Philippines driver's licenses to foreigners unless they can prove that they will be here for a year. This is coming in dribs and drabs. I guess recently Dumaguete just started enforcing it, and I went over to the LTO office, and the woman at the information desk did verify that, saying that, yeah, it's part of our regulations and we have to enforce this. This is a recent development, Dumaguete. I've actually known some guys, and I know they're doing it up in Bacolod too, and I knew guys that were coming from Bacolod to Dumaguete just to get their driver's license because Dumaguete wasn't enforcing that ridiculous regulation. So basically what that means is you can use your foreign driver's license in the Philippines for 3 months. And if you're doing a month-to-month tourist visa, after 3 months, you can't drive anymore. And if you do drive, you're driving illegally like everybody else in the Philippines does. And they can take your bike, they can basically impound your vehicle. So that is a ridiculous regulation change. They said that they were going to change it back, but they haven't, and now even the Dumaguete office says they're enforcing it. Maybe that'll change. Things are day to day here. Things have gotten worse for foreigners. PhilHealth has gone up from about $45 a year to $340 a year. So that's a substantial increase, and that's targeting foreigners. Basically, before we used to be able to coast through, paying $45 a month and get PhilHealth, which covers, some costs of hospitalization. And just recently, they upped that. This past year, they upped that to $340 a year. A number of foreigners complained about it, but I look at it this way: $340 a year isn't a whole lot of money. In case something bad happens, you get into a motorbike wreck, something like that happens, and you're hospitalized for weeks, if not months. At least that will cut 40 to 50% off. Balik Bayan box changes. Again, this just happened this past August 1st. If you're a Filipino in the United States, say, or Filipino anywhere else, sending a Balik Bayan box back to a family member, and it's got to be family member, they go by the surnames and everything, it's not going to be taxed, it's going to be free, it's going to be no issue. You just got to pay the shipping charges. If you're a foreigner, however, or a Filipino not related to somebody over here, anything over 10,000 pesos will be charged taxes and tariffs, and that was just something that was recently implemented. There's still a lot of kickback going against that new regulation, especially from OFW groups. So we'll see what happens for that. How things have gotten worse for foreigners. We got the insurgency in Mindanao. It's basically a declared ISIS stronghold. That's not good. That's never good. We also have the cost of business increasing in the Philippines for foreign investors. If you saw ABS News recently over the past couple of weeks, they're talking about a number of Korean businesses that are pulling out of the Philippines and going to Vietnam and taking tens of thousands of jobs with them. So that's an issue that's going on primarily with the Korean businesses right now. Also, you got the drug war going on in the Philippines. This wasn't going on 4 years ago, and the effect that it has on the national zeitgeist, that's going to affect foreigners and Filipinos. Most of us have seen the dead bodies. You've seen the people shot. The only one I've seen personally so far was the gentleman in Daro not too long ago that was killed in front of the barber shop. Salvage And that has an effect. When you got stuff like that, you got thousands of citizens being killed by government and non-government entities in this war on drugs, which is primarily targeting the poor. That has an effect. That has an effect on the nation. That has an effect on everybody who's living here. Another way things have gotten worse for foreigners, particularly Americans, and I haven't seen this yet, but I've heard people talking about it. President Duterte has widespread support all across the Philippines. Filipinos were sick of the corruption, they were sick of the drugs, they were sick of the crime, and even though they generally go with the flow, they said, no, we're tired of it. Let's vote President Duterte in, even though he wasn't Tagalog. I think this was the first time we haven't had a Tagalog president here in the Philippines for a very long time. And let's get this done. And as you know, a lot of times President Duterte doesn't speak too highly of the United States and its imperial, colonial past. And if President Duterte has widespread support, a lot of Filipinos, and this is what people are claiming. I haven't seen this personally yet. I've never had, somebody refer to me as an imperialist pig, but it has an effect. All right, so there's 3 ways things have gotten better and 3 ways things have gotten worse. For foreigners in the Philippines, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of flux. There's a lot of insanity. I still see the advantages of living in the Philippines, at least for me, far outweigh the disadvantages. I actually like living here. It's a good place to work. It's a good place to save money. And it's a good place to basically live simply. And I've talked about this before, and I think this is going to be my next video I'm going to do. It's just basically cutting life down to its most important components and focusing on what's truly important. I think that's one of the biggest advantages that you can have here, because as you guys that follow Life Beyond the Sea and stuff, Henry's always talked about this, how simply when it comes time for him to go, he doesn't have that much stuff, material objects to take with him, and he just keeps it simple. And I think that's an important thing. I like the Philippines. When I'm back in the U.S., it's great for about 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh, I miss the Philippines. All right, back to the viewer comments. Rory Thomas, I know. Hey, how about the hypocrisy? Well, there's going to be a bunch of hypocrisy, because Rory Thomas says, save money, $1,300 USD drone. Yeah. Another thing, when I do this video on living simply, there's going to be a bunch of hypocrisy, because my version of living simply is a lot different than, say, a Filipino's version of living simply. Just because simply a lot of Filipinos don't have the financial resources to have air conditioning or an LCD TV. Catabatic says Hobo wants Ned to be his guest. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, have a dialogue, right? Have a dialogue. We need a Filipino with a sniper. Okay. All right. Also, something I want to say about the Hobo. All right. The Hobo started with me. He started with Henry. We're the 2 targets. That's how he got his channel started, And we couldn't really go up directly against him because we didn't want to bring more attention to his channel. Plus, as you guys are all aware by now, he is a complete delusional psychopath, okay? So whenever you try to confront him with facts, confront him with his reality, he's going to see it as hate. He's going to, continue to see himself in the right. He doesn't possess, he is actually, and that was what I did. That was one of my things that I did back in the United States, is I worked with people with personality disorders. And it's incredibly difficult to deal with them. It's actually easier to work with schizophrenics, multiple personality disorder clients like that than it is with sociopaths, because they're always going to see themselves as right. They're always going to see themselves as having this special information or these special skills. They're going to talk about it ad infinitum, even when they're confronted with their lies about, photography, multiple condominiums in Makati, $3,000 a month and all this stuff, scamming people, doing all that stuff. They're not going to see it. So there's nothing you can do short of killing him. I should retract that. don't kill him. There's nothing you can do or say that's going to get him to change his mind. And it's unfortunate because there seems to be some people that get really upset about what he's saying and what he's doing. And you shouldn't, because there's nothing you can do. He's not going to present himself. He's not going to meet up with you. So you're just wasting your breath. The important thing is, though, and I acknowledge the alliance on this, is a lot of the BS that he's been putting out there, you guys have effectively refuted. I mean, his reputation is completely destroyed. Another thing about sociopaths is they insist upon using their real name. So whenever he opens these accounts, it's always under his real name. They call it vanity posting. And what a lot of these guys do also is he's constantly checking other people's comment section to see if people are talking about him, doing vanity searches. Donald Trump does the same thing. He's presented with clippings from the newspaper talking well about him wherever his name is mentioned. So you'll see people doing that. But again, props to the Alliance for what you guys did, because that was something that the larger channels couldn't do, because it would just bring attention to him, and we didn't want to do that. He is omniscient. Catabatic says narcissistic personality disorder. Yeah, definitely. It's a combination. There's a couple things going on there. Rory Thomas. That's not nice to say. Casino 2004 says, hey Ned, do you have a lot of stuff in the U.S. or the Philippines? I have very little stuff in the United States, and I got, a moderate amount of stuff in the Philippines. It's going to suck when I have to move the next time, because you don't realize how much crap you got until you got to move. Okay, this is good right here. Yes, and I'm hearing other people saying the same thing. Larry Villanueva says, I talked to a Forex agent today. That's one of the shippers of Balik Bayan boxes to the Philippines. He said to keep your boxes under $250, and that's declared value. Wes says, can't you just put your girl's name on the address and receive address? But it's got to be coming from a Filipino overseas. It's got to be coming from like an OFW, Dubai, United States, Canada, UK, whatever, Australia. And it's got to be the same family name on the receiver. And I guess they're going by passports, and the paperwork nowadays is it's pretty crazy. God, you guys are hating on the hobo, man. Okay. Bruce Bogan says, driver's license at LTO, went in and they said I could not get one because my iCard had visitor printed on it. This was at Cebu City. Yeah, so sometimes I'm hearing this happens, and then other times I'm hearing that guys are getting them no problem. And again, I specifically ask, are you on a tourist visa, month-to-month tourist visa? And some guys are getting them. I don't know what's going on. Chad Wyrick says, all I can say that I find it extremely admirable that the Filipinos place such a high value on smooth interpersonal relationships. For situations where it isn't possible, it's a pain. Yeah, we were talking about this the other night. I was talking about this with a buddy of mine's Filipino wife, and the smooth interpersonal relations, we talked about this before. In Tagalog, it's referred to as pakikisama, which refers to just going with the flow. Don't make confrontation, don't insult somebody else as a more proprio, don't bring shame onto them. Now, and you said it can be a pain, and it's a pain when the smooth interpersonal relations, it's no longer working, and somebody offends somebody else to the point where they come back and they kill or hurt them very badly. This is why everybody says, every foreigner in the Philippines that's been here for a little while says never get into a verbal altercation with a Filipino. They might be smaller than you, thinner, wiry, whatever, but, if you insult them enough and you're, demeaning and arrogant enough, they'll come back with a couple buddies and they'll kick your ass. And they'll say, welcome to the Philippines. It's just the way it is. And that's not insulting Filipinos. I don't insult anybody. You guys know I'm a progressive socialist. I try to keep the smooth interpersonal relations going. All right, here we go. Howard McCormick, and this is a perfect example of how crazy it can be here. He just got his driver's license in San Carlos City on his 30-day visa, no problems at all, just 3 months ago. Huh. Pacquiao is smaller than me. Hey man, I was watching a documentary yesterday on Pacquiao on YouTube. Well, it wasn't a documentary. It was on his greatest knockouts, his greatest fights. Dude, he was insane. He was crazy. Tim's 2JZ asks, Ned, how long did it take for you to adjust to living in the Philippines? It took a while because at first you got to learn how everything works, and then you got to try to adjust to it. And like I mentioned in my last live cast, bad things I've learned about myself. Even after 4 years, excuse me, I still have a hard time dealing with some of the stuff, especially when it's hot, when I'm trying to get something accomplished. Whenever I have a list of things to do and I go out, I always come back to the house, and if I've got them all done, it's like I just feel so good. It's like, man, there wasn't one obstacle, one insane obstacle that popped up that stopped me from getting done what I needed to get done, because I'm a very important person doing very important things. And when this country can't bend before my will, I get very upset. I should quote that. Mike Johnson says, would be nice if one of you guys made a book about all the scams. The book I got, it's got some of the scams. It's got all the most important ones. I mean, you just got to use common sense. Don't send people money. Don't buy things sight unseen. Take it slow. A lot of guys come here, man, and they just jump into stuff with both feet. Roger Jr. says, where were the white rabbits, Ned? They're actually down on the Dumaguete Boulevard. There's this guy, and he's a really cool guy. And he goes down there. He's got two white rabbits, and he just lets people pick them up. He lets them hop around. He just shoos them along the boulevard. Every now and then they poop, but that's okay. So it's really cool, you know. There's a lot of cool stuff going down on the Dumaguete Boulevard. Especially the best night to go down there is Sunday night, because a lot of the helpers and stuff, they got the day off. That's their one day off a week. All the students got off. It's basically family night, so everybody goes down there. It's really cool because there's always something going on. You got the people doing the sketches, you got the religious people, you got the massage people, you got all the food. It's a good time. That's my favorite time to go down and take photographs too. Casino 2004 says, Ned, how do you deal with the salesmen that will not leave you alone? You just kind of ignore them. That's what they're used to. You don't want to confront them and insult them. Or you just start making, small talk with them. I know, because we get so focused on what we want. It's like, don't distract me from my desires. Oahu dude says, are you back on the dating scene? No, I am not. Nope. Yeah, Mike Johnson, and again, Mike Johnson, that's in my book. If you want to learn about this stuff, try to get the trivia question right. You get the free book. Otherwise, it's $10.95. It's 100% money back guarantee. I've only had one person ask for a return. All right. Okay, so that's basically. Oh, poor hobo, Blackfoot. Is there a happy Catabatic? Is there a happy ending in the Messiah? No, it's right on the boulevard. There is a couple places around here though. Jerry Gamboni says rabbits are good to eat, but my Filipina thinks I am barbaric. You are a barbarian. All right, thanks to everybody for your comments, for keeping it moderately civil. I didn't have to ban anyone. Anybody seen Golden Rich? I really miss Golden Rich. Okay, so this guy, Lucas says it's called a money contest, and every school in the Philippines does this every year. It's very commonplace. All right, thank you for that, Lucas. It's indicative of the continued holdover of classism and elitism and stuff. Because you don't see that in the United States. Somebody said that they have that in the United States. I've never seen that in the United States. Whoever brings in the most money, which they give the money back, gets a substantial score. Blind eye view of the Philippines. Will Martin asks, how approachable are the Filipino-Az? The Filipino-Az are very approachable, and if you don't approach them, they will approach you. Especially the men. The men are always asking questions. They're very, um, they're very approachable. They want to talk to you. The first thing that they're going to ask you is, where is your wife? Are you married? No, actually, the first thing they ask is, what country are you from? And I'll say, I'm from Canada, because I don't like to admit I'm American at this point. And then I'll ask them, what country are they from? And they'll be like, Philippines. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of you here. Way too many. You guys got to build a wall. Next thing they ask is, are you married? Then it's usually kids and all that stuff. And they always want to drink. Like whenever I go down to Silliman Beach, I usually go down sometimes on Saturday nights, Sunday nights, during the golden hour to try to get some good photos. Everybody who's been out there, they're drinking Red Horse all day, and everybody wants to, give you a drink and talk to you. They're very nice. And fiestas, when there's fiestas, people just walk around house to house and just go into people's houses, eat food, go to the next house, eat food. You don't see that in the United States. Well, street festivals, sometimes, yeah, they'll close down street festivals. Walter Brown, never deny your nation. I'm not being unpatriotic doing that. It's more of an ongoing joke, telling people I'm from Canada. Wait. Oh, now Mike Johnson's upset. What? Wait, how come you don't say you're an American? It's an ongoing joke, man. It's called a running gag. I'm from Toronto, eh? Lucas. Oh, Lucas is in Dumaguete. Hey. Cano. Yeah, the gin, the Tondo Eye. Oh, the rum. Can't do it. Yeah, I've been making that joke for a very long time, so don't get all freaking twisted. Don't get slamming me. Especially you, if Quentong's still here. Bobby and all you guys. I don't want to hear my name. Ned's not a patriot. He's a communist. He admitted it during a live stream. I don't want to be hearing that. All right, thanks again to everybody who participated. You want the book? The book link is down in the video description box. All that good stuff. And this is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams. Thanks again. Be well, and I will see you next time.